On the vibrant planet of Zerathia, the sky glowed in shades of violet and orange, the floating forests swaying gently above rivers that shimmered with bioluminescent light. The planet was alive with color and energy, a place where even the air seemed to hum softly with life. Among the native species were the Lumini, an alien race known for their translucent skin that pulsed with soft light, reflecting their moods and emotions. Humans had arrived only a few years ago to study this strange world, bringing with them technology and ideas the Lumini had never encountered. Lyra, a young Lumini girl, had always been fascinated by humans. She was small for her age, with skin that shimmered in hues of green and blue, and eyes that glowed brighter when she was curious or excited. She often wandered near the human research station, quietly observing the humans at work. Unlike other Lumini children who were cautious around the new species, Lyra was fearless. She wanted to understand everything: how humans thought, how they moved, and most of all, what made them so different from her own people. One morning, she watched from the edge of a glowing river as a human scientist named Ethan prepared a strange device in the middle of the research courtyard. The machine was unlike anything Lyra had ever seen. It had glass panels, wires, and softly glowing screens that displayed moving patterns. Ethan adjusted a small dial and the machine hummed, sending faint pulses of light into the air. Lyra's eyes widened. She could see energy flowing through the air, tiny currents moving like miniature rivers, but she had no idea what they meant. Ethan noticed the small figure standing at the edge of the courtyard and smiled. "Hello there," he called out, his voice gentle. "Do you want to see what this does?" Lyra tilted her head, her glowing patterns flickering with excitement. "Yes," she said, her voice curious. She stepped closer, careful not to get too near the moving parts. Ethan beckoned her over and motioned to a flat platform in the center of the machine. "This device can show energy flows inside living beings. Your species has very visible energy patterns on the outside, but this lets us see what's happening inside, too." Lyra's eyes grew even wider. "Inside me? What are you talking about?" she exclaimed. Her voice was a mix of surprise and wonder. She had never considered what was happening beneath her glowing skin, and the idea of seeing herself from the inside seemed almost magical. Ethan laughed softly. "Yes, I know it sounds strange. Humans have different biology than yours, but every being has energy flowing through them. This machine lets us map it in real time." He adjusted the controls, and a holographic projection appeared above the platform. It was a faint, glowing outline of a figure, and lines of light traced paths through what would have been muscles, organs, and nerve-like networks. Lyra gasped. Her own energy patterns appeared inside the hologram, moving and shifting with a rhythm she had never seen. The display mirrored her emotions, her curiosity, and even her fear. She could see the pulse of her heart, the subtle movements of her internal energy, and a web of connections she had never imagined. This is amazing," she whispered, reaching out as if she could touch the glowing lines. "It's like I can see myself, really see myself." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. Humans can't see themselves this way without technology. Your species can already sense energy patterns outside, but this lets us look inside, understand what's happening, and even compare it to other beings." Lyra's curiosity grew. "Can it show me humans too?" she asked, her glowing patterns shifting to a brighter hue as excitement coursed through her. Ethan smiled. "Yes, if you're ready, but you must understand humans are very different. Their bodies and energy patterns don't glow like yours. Some things will look strange to you." Lyra nodded eagerly. "I want to see everything, please." Over the next hour, Ethan guided her as they used the machine on different human volunteers. Lyra watched as the holographic projections revealed the energy flowing through their bodies, the rhythm of their hearts, the firing of neurons in their brains, and subtle emotional pulses she could sense but never see in this way before. She asked endless questions, her mind racing to understand the strange humans. "Why does his heart beat slower than mine?" she asked, pointing at the human scientist named Marcus. "Humans have different energy systems," Ethan explained. "Their hearts pump blood to supply oxygen and nutrients. Your species uses a mix of energy currents and bioluminescent flows, so your heart and pulse are different." Lyra tilted her head. "So, energy can be hidden inside too. I thought it was always visible on the outside." "Most of the time, yes," Ethan said. "But what's inside is just as important. It tells us how the body works, how thoughts move, and how emotions affect the mind. You can think of it as a deeper layer of yourself, invisible until we use technology to reveal it." Lyra's mind buzzed with ideas. She had never imagined that humans could have patterns and energy flows that were invisible. It was like discovering a hidden world inside a world, and she wanted to explore it endlessly. Days passed, and Lyra returned to the research station daily. She learned to operate the machine under Ethan's guidance, observing how energy flowed differently in humans and Lumini. She noticed that human emotions affected their energy in ways she could barely sense, subtle shifts in color and rhythm that mirrored thoughts and feelings. She experimented with small humans and Lumini alike, always careful and respectful, and her fascination only grew. The other Lumini began to notice her long absences and her obsession with humans. Some whispered among themselves, worried that she might be putting herself at risk. The humans' technology was impressive, but the Lumini were wary of trusting it completely. Lyra ignored their warnings. She believed that understanding humans was important, that knowledge could only make her people stronger, not weaker. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the floating forests, casting long shadows over the river, Lyra sat with Ethan and looked at the latest projections. "Ethan, do you think I could see more? Not just humans, but everything inside them, even their thoughts?" Ethan hesitated. "Well, the machine can show electrical activity in the brain which is linked to thoughts, but it's complicated. Humans have very complex brains, much more so than most species." Lyra's glow flickered with determination. "I want to try, I want to learn, I want to see what makes humans human." Ethan studied her for a long moment. He had never seen a Lumini so eager to understand humans, so willing to dive into a world of knowledge that many adults avoided. Finally, he nodded. "Okay, but carefully. We must respect their minds and their privacy. We only observe what they allow." The next few weeks were a mixture of experiments and discoveries. Lyra watched as human energy patterns shifted with emotion, how their brains lit up during problem-solving, and how subtle gestures affected their internal rhythms. She asked questions about everything, from how humans remembered things to why they felt joy or fear. Ethan patiently answered, impressed by her insight and persistence. During one late-night session, Lyra discovered something unexpected. When humans laughed or smiled genuinely, their energy flowed differently, creating small bursts of light inside the holographic projections. She had never seen anything like it. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "Their happiness is visible, even inside them." Ethan smiled. "Yes. Humans experience emotions in complex ways, and it's fascinating to watch. Their creativity, their intuition, even their mistakes are all part of the energy patterns inside them. It's part of what makes them unique." Lyra's curiosity deepened. She realized that understanding humans was not just about observing. It was about connecting, seeing the world through a completely different perspective. She wanted to learn more than patterns and energy flows. She wanted to understand the human experience. Word of Lyra's experiments eventually reached the Lumini Council. Some members were concerned, believing that spending too much time with humans might change her, or worse, expose secrets of their species. Others were intrigued, seeing the potential for knowledge exchange. Lyra stood before them, glowing brighter than ever, explaining that learning about humans could help her people understand energy, technology, and emotion in new ways. "You will never understand humans if you fear them," she told them. "But if we learn from them, we can grow stronger. Knowledge does not weaken us, it makes us better." The council remained silent for a long moment, then nodded, reluctantly approving her continued research. Lyra's heart swelled with pride. She had defended her curiosity, and in doing so, she had taken the first step toward bridging the gap between her species and humans. That night, as the twin moons of Zarathia rose above the floating forests, Lyra sat by the glowing river, thinking about everything she had seen and learned. She knew the journey ahead would be long and challenging, but she felt ready. Humans were strange, beautiful, and complex, and she wanted to understand them completely. Her glowing skin pulsed gently as she whispered to herself, "I will see everything. I will understand. And maybe we can learn from each other." And with that determination burning inside her, Lyra looked up at the stars, imagining a future where humans and Lumini worked together, sharing knowledge, curiosity, and wonder across the galaxy. The morning sun reflected off the glowing rivers of Zarathia, painting the floating forests in soft shades of gold and violet. Lyra's skin shimmered with excitement as she hurried toward the human research station. Today was special. Ethan had agreed to let her take the lead in using the energy mapping device for a new set of experiments. After weeks of learning, observing, and asking endless questions, she was ready to explore even deeper. Ethan greeted her with a smile. "Ready for today?" he asked, adjusting the controls of the device. Lyra's glowing patterns flickered brightly. "Yes. Today I want to understand more about human emotions. Can we see how feelings move inside them?" Ethan nodded. "We can. But remember, emotions are subtle. Humans feel many things at once. You have to observe carefully and respect their privacy." Lyra watched as the first human volunteer stepped onto the platform. He was a young engineer named Tom, slightly nervous but curious. The machine hummed and glowed as Ethan activated it, and a holographic projection of Tom's internal energy appeared above him. Lines of light pulsed through his body, shifting with his heartbeat and subtle movements. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's amazing. I can see his joy and nervousness at the same time. Look, the lines around his chest are brighter when he smiles." Ethan smiled. "Yes, emotions influence energy flow. It's like your glowing patterns, but inside. Humans carry so much emotion that you can see them if you know how to read the patterns." Lyra leaned closer, her curiosity growing. "What about love? Can we see it?" Ethan hesitated. "Love is complicated. It's a mix of emotions, thoughts, and memories. It doesn't have a single pattern, but you can see energy changes when humans think about people they care about." Lyra's glow shifted with excitement. "I want to try. I want to see it for myself." Ethan guided her as she carefully focused the device on Tom. As Tom thought of his sister, the holographic energy patterns shifted. A warm glow spread from his chest through his arms and into his hands. Lyra gasped. "It's beautiful. His feelings are shining inside him." Tom laughed nervously. "I didn't know anyone could see that," he said. "It's fascinating," Lyra replied, her voice full of wonder. "I can see how humans feel. Their emotions are alive inside them, not just in their minds but in their energy. It's incredible." The experiments continued throughout the day. Lyra observed human volunteers laughing, worrying, and concentrating. She noticed subtle differences between how humans expressed emotion physically and internally, how thoughts influenced energy flows, and how memories could trigger flashes of light inside the holograms. Each new observation thrilled her. As the days passed, Lyra's skills grew. She learned to interpret the patterns quickly, predicting what a human might feel or think just by observing the energy flows. Ethan was amazed at her progress. "Lyra, you're learning faster than anyone I've ever seen," he said. "Your understanding of energy combined with curiosity is incredible." Lyra's glow brightened with pride. "I want to know everything. Humans are so different, yet so Fascinating. Their hearts, their minds, their feelings, it's a whole universe inside them. One evening, as the twin moons of Zarathia rose above the glowing rivers, Ethan and Lyra were preparing for the last experiment of the day. Lyra suggested testing a group of humans together to see how their emotions interacted in a social setting. "Do you think it's safe?" Ethan asked, adjusting the device. Lyra nodded. "Yes, carefully. I want to understand how humans connect with each other, how their energy flows influence one another. It could teach me so much." The group of humans stepped onto the platform. Laughter, chatter, and friendly gestures filled the courtyard as the holographic projection came to life. Energy patterns intertwined, pulsing in response to each interaction. Lyra's eyes widened in amazement. "It's like a dance of light," she exclaimed. "Their energy moves together, changes with every smile, every gesture. It's beautiful," Ethan nodded. "Yes, humans are social creatures. Their connections with others affect their internal energy. Observing this can teach us a lot about cooperation, trust, and empathy." Lyra leaned closer to the projection, studying the patterns. "I want to understand it all. Every interaction, every feeling, it's a language of energy, a way to see the invisible." Days turned into weeks, and Lyra's fascination only grew. She began developing her own techniques to interpret human emotions, predicting reactions, and understanding subtle cues that even humans didn't notice. Ethan noticed that she wasn't just observing. She was connecting, understanding, and even helping humans respond better to each other. The Lumini Council, which had been watching her progress, became curious. Some were still cautious, worried about humans influencing their young, but others saw Lyra's work as a bridge between two species. Lyra was invited to present her findings to a small group of Lumini leaders. Standing before them, she glowed with confidence. "Humans are not just strange creatures," she explained. "They have energy, emotions, thoughts, and feelings that flow inside them just like us. By observing and understanding them, we can learn about cooperation, creativity, and empathy. Knowledge does not weaken us, it makes us stronger." The council listened carefully. Some members nodded slowly, impressed by her insight. "Your observations are unusual," one elder said, "but your conclusions are valuable. Perhaps humans are not just visitors, they can be teachers." Lyra's glow brightened. "They can teach us and we can teach them. Together, we can understand energy, emotion, and life in ways neither of us could alone." Ethan watched silently, proud of her. Lyra's determination and curiosity had grown into something extraordinary. She was building bridges, connecting species, and discovering truths that neither humans nor Lumini had fully understood before. Over the following months, Lyra and Ethan expanded their experiments. They explored human creativity, learning how thoughts influenced energy, how problem-solving lit up different parts of the holographic projections, and how human intuition often led to solutions that machines could not predict. Lyra recorded every observation, taking meticulous notes, and sharing them with both human and Lumini researchers. One day, Lyra had an idea. "Ethan, what if we could translate human emotions into visual energy for Lumini to understand more clearly? Not just observe, but actually see their feelings as light patterns." Ethan paused. "That would be challenging, but it might be possible. It could help your species understand humans without misunderstanding them." They worked together, carefully programming the device to convert complex human emotions into visual displays. When they tested it on a human volunteer, the result was breathtaking. Laughter appeared as golden threads of light, joy as bright pulses spreading through the hologram, and even subtle feelings like nervousness or anticipation showed as soft ripples. Lyra gasped, her glow brightening like never before. "It's beautiful. I can see everything, emotions, thoughts, connections. Humans are incredible." The human volunteer smiled nervously. "I didn't know anyone could understand us this way," he said. Lyra shook her head. Not just understand, you are alive in ways we can see and learn from. Your feelings, your creativity, it's amazing. And we can learn together. News of their discovery spread quickly among both humans and Lumini. Researchers began visiting from other stations, curious to see the energy translation system. Lumini children, previously hesitant around humans, now came to observe, fascinated by the glowing displays of emotion and thought. Humans, in turn, were amazed to see their feelings visualized so clearly. One evening, Lyra sat by the glowing river, reflecting on how far she had come. She remembered the first day she saw her internal energy patterns, the surprise and wonder she had felt, and how that curiosity had driven her to learn so much. She realized that her fascination with humans had not only expanded her own understanding, but had also opened a path for both species to grow together. Ethan joined her, looking at the glowing river and the floating forests beyond. "You've done something incredible, Lyra," he said. "You've helped humans and Lumini understand each other in a way that no one thought possible." Lyra smiled, her patterns flickering with pride and happiness. "I just wanted to understand, but now we are learning together. Humans, Lumini, we can share knowledge, energy, and life itself. Isn't that what makes this galaxy worth exploring?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, and thanks to you, we've started something that could change the way our species interact forever." As the twin moons rose above the horizon, Lyra felt a warmth inside her that was more than just energy. It was hope, curiosity, and a sense of connection that transcended species. She realized that the universe was not just a place to observe, but a place to connect, learn, and grow together. The experiments, discoveries, and friendships she had built were only the beginning. Lyra knew there was still so much to explore, so much to understand. She looked up at the stars, shimmering above the floating forests, and whispered to herself, "This is only the start. Humans and Lumini, together, we can see the invisible, understand the unknown, and create something greater than ourselves." And with that thought, she returned to the research station, ready to continue her journey of discovery, bridging two very different worlds through curiosity, understanding, and the light that shone from within.